Welcome to Beyond Beauty. I'm your host Laura, and today I'm interviewing Sharon Akram. Sharon is a licensed cosmetologist and the current manicure instructor at 3D Lash and Brow Academy. So how's it going today, Sharon?
Good day so far.
Good. So I want to know, tell me about how long you've been in the beauty industry for, and what was your journey like getting started to where you are now?
Wow, it's been a journey. I mean, that's the perfect word you can use for it. I've been in the industry for 30 plus years. Laura, I started as a shampoo girl, and I was 17. I had no idea that I would end up in the beauty industry. I did that for a summer. I enjoyed it. And then right after graduating high school, I went and worked for the county of Oklahoma as a deputy sheriff. So I done that, and it just wasn't the fit, and so I stayed with them for about 10 years. And then I said to myself, I needed to find something that identifies me. So I went to school and as a nail technician first. And then I came out as a nail technician. I operated as a nail technician for about 2.5, 3 years. And the salon that I was in, Laura, I saw a lot of braid money walking in and out the door, braid money, because stylists back then, they wasn't braiding hair. So I'm like, and I didn't have a problem braiding hair, but in the state of Oklahoma, you had to have a license to braid. So that's what took me back to school, and then I got my cosmetology license. And I ran Braid Through a Style Shop for about 10 years. And all I did was braided hair. And then, of course, standing behind that chair, my fingers are getting tight. I'm standing on my feet for long hour jobs. And I'm like, I just can't do this, you know. So then I decided, well, what else can I do? And then I thought I always had a niche for nursing. And so I went back and did all my prereqs for my nursing program. And then I got accepted in the program, and I'm like, you know, I've been self-employed for over 20 plus years. I can't go hit nobody's clock, you know. Yeah. And so I decided, well, what else can I do? So to stay in my field, so that's what took me back to get my educator's license as a cosmetologist, and so that brought me to where I am now. And since then, during COVID, I'm a published book writer also on how to become your boss in 45 days. After you obtain your licensing. So I'm at a point in the educator's level where I just want to pass the baton. I don't care to do the services anymore. I just want to pass the baton to other students, the knowledge that I have acquired over 30 plus years.
Wow, that's awesome. So tell me, bringing it back, what does because I'm not familiar, what does a shampoo girl do?
Shampoo hair all day long.
Okay.
Literally. I was working in a salon that had 4 operators in there. So whenever their clients come in, I would prep them for the actual stylist. I would shampoo, condition the hair, bag them, put them under the dryer, rinse it out, and then they're ready for their stylist. So literally, I was a shampoo girl.
Yeah, because is that still, because I haven't seen that, I guess, in the salons that I've gone to. Is that as common now, or is
They're called assistants now.
Okay.
That's what an assistant would do to a stylist. They would prep their clients prior to them coming to the style chair.
Okay, gotcha. And then that's quite the switch from that to a deputy sheriff.
Big difference.
How did you come? What made you decide to do that?
Well, I was looking for a job that offered benefits and medical and retirement pension and county in the state of Oklahoma. Those were just the jobs that we applied for, and I just landed that one first. It really wasn't a desire.
You're like, I'll take a job.
Right.
Any job.
Yeah, so that was kind of what I was looking for when I applied. And then, like I say, it just really wasn't a fit. I stayed because the benefits was good. I stayed because the 401k was there. But the aspect of just working with on the criminal side of people, it's a different spectrum. But I did it for the security. I did, but
Yeah. So when you started going to school to get licensed, was what was the people surrounding you? I feel like that's important to build a career too. Like, what was your family's thoughts on you're gonna go out and work for yourself? You're really gonna do it?
That's kind of when I was hearing you need to go to nursing school. You know, it's more lucrative. You know, you're not going to be able to get far in the beauty industry. Nursing will take you further. So that was kind of the feedback that I was getting, you know, was that I need to apply that study somewhere else other than the beauty industry. And so now they look at me now and they say, well, you're an educator now, you know. So, you know, I've kind of fulfilled the full spectrum of the beauty industry by obtaining my instructor's license. So I feel like I've done pretty successful in the beauty industry.
Absolutely, no doubt. So back when you were first doing braiding out of a salon, what was I'm a little bit familiar with the time that it takes to do that. What was the cost of getting that done back then versus now?
Braiding is a very, the overhead, the setup cost is very minimal. It's more about time because the clients bring their hair. They choose the hair to decide the desired style. All I'm doing is braiding the hair in. So it's more about time than it is cost effective, you know, because some jobs, I did have a couple of assistants that work with me, and we have 3 people working at the same time in order to get a job out in 4 to 5 hours. But if I was doing a job by myself, it would take probably about 10 to 12 hours to complete a complete braid job on a solo basis. So it's more so about time than it is cost. Because it really doesn't take a lot of cost to get set up as a braider.
Gotcha. And then tell me what it was like about, what was your process writing a book? I didn't know you were a published author.
It was just my journey. I just kind of put my journey in text and just started from the beginning and just took myself all the way to where I am today. It was interesting. It was easy. It became easy because I wrote on, it was easy because I was writing on material that I was familiar with. I had already walked that journey, so all I had to do was put it in the book form, you know, because it was my journey. So it really became easy. It was easy to do that, you know, because I just had to think about the time and the spectrum and put it into that order in which it came to me, you know. So it wasn't difficult. It took me probably about 2.5 years to complete the book.
So you had the idea, I want to do this, I want to write a book. Then did you just start typing it out, or did you have to find an editor or a place to get it printed?
I did. I used, I put everything in text. I typed it out just until I got the total book complete. And then I hired an editor that came in and edited the document and then put it into the book form and formatted it to the size book that I chose and did the formatting and did the editing and whatnot. So I hired that out for it to make sense. So they kind of put it in the text to make it all correlate together.
Gotcha. You think you'd have any more books in the works coming out?
I thought about continuing from not just how to become your own boss as a nail technician, but how to become your boss as a cosmetologist, how to become an educator, how to, you know. So I've thought about series. I have thought about, but I've entertained it. I haven't well dived into it yet, but it has been entertained.
Because, I mean, yeah, now that I've now been working in a cosmetology school now, it's my first exposure to all of this. I realized really quick each person, you're kind of acting as you are your own business. So I mean, touch on when you were first trying to find work as a cosmetologist, what was it like to learn how to market yourself? I guess. Yeah.
Well, it was really, I think my journey wasn't difficult.
Okay.
I actually, my businesses that I selected, the first business that I went to work for was in the heart of the hood. It had 20 operators in there. That's barbers, stylists. It was just a full boutique of hairstylists and barbers in there. So that was really a plus for me. So I didn't have to do anything but be there on time. I perfected my service. The more I done the nail application, the better I became at it. And the more efficient, the faster I got, the more that I practiced it. And I didn't actually learn the efficiency until I actually got into a salon. It took me, before I could say I really and truly got comfortable with the nail application, I would say it probably took me about 6-7 months before I said, okay, I got this. Built that confidence level in myself. And with me, and then like I say, why I say that it became so easy for me is that the place that I chose to go work at, Laura, it was within 2 miles of my home.
Okay.
So I had already lived in that demographic area. So when they came in to Adams & Son Beauty Salon, I probably knew a good portion of the people that walked in the door. So that was an advantage to me. Well, Sharon's at Adams & Sons doing nails, so the word just kind of spread, through the demographical area in which I had already lived in. So that became easy to me. I just had to be there when they came in the door for the services. And that's something that I would recommend to a new nail technician coming out, is that to look for a location that has many stylists and operators in there, because that's a plus for you. That's where a lot of your referrals are going to come from. A lot of my referrals came from the environment that I worked in. The stylist saying, Sharon is here to do nails, she do pedicures, she do acrylics, she do all the services that a manicurist offer. So, and building that rapport and relationship with the co-workers so that they can give you that referral base. So I was pretty blessed in that avenue. Marketing, I did, use a marketing strategy with my booking system and different things like that. But it came pretty easy to me because I really got blessed with my first location. And I was able, it took me about 4 months, and I gave up my full-time job totally.
Wow.
Just went straight in independent. So.
What was your full-time job at the time?
Deputy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So was where your first location, was that kind of like small town? Like, tell me about where you grew up.
The city of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So we were in, it's a pretty large area that I went into. And like I said, I had already lived in the area for numerous of years. So I had already knew the demographical area, the people in it, the environment, So when people came to Adams, which was a very, very prominent salon, then I was already known, by the area in which I dwelled. So.
What else appealed to you about pursuing cosmetology? Because I know I've seen it's portrayed often in like movies and TV shows that it's where, it's not just where you get your hair cut. Like, it's like, oh, you get to like catch up on like all the gossip, like kind of a real like sense of community there. Like, was that something that you experienced?
It was, in a sense, in the aspect of trending. With us having as many operators that we did have in the salon, we didn't lose the trend style because everybody was going, at that time we were going to different hair shows, different workshops and whatnot like that in order to stay up with the trend. So the trend was in the salon that I worked at. So we were forever going, like I say, to workshops and hair shows in Atlanta, Arkansas. We just traveled wherever there was a hair show at. And we traveled in numbers, so we all got the knowledge at the same time, So that was really helpful for us too.
Yeah. So what happens at a hair show?
It's just about introducing the latest styles, the newest products, demonstrations, buying of the new materials, new trending styles that's on the market, like curling irons, for an example, your latch hook needle, the most trending latch hook needle for a braider, workshops as far as braiding went, how to braid under, how to braid over, how, different things like that will enhance your business that we did there. And then just being in a group, it was good just to be in a group of people and,
Yes.
Being together and working the workshop together, so it was nice to be in a group environment.
Yeah, that sounds fun. So since you've seen the beauty industry really evolve with the amount of time you've been in the industry, what are your thoughts on kind of the layout of how everything is today with social media, and different, there are rising influencers that are hair influencers, nail influencers. Do you think that's affected the beauty industry, for good, for bad? What are your thoughts?
I say use it. Use everything at your disposal. Facebook, Instagram, Google your business, podcast. Use everything that's available to your disposal in order to market yourself. Find yourself a specialty, something that you specialize in, and stay with that, and then find a way to get it out there to the community. Just stay focused on your specialty and use everything available, everything. Fiverr, hiring out your website, because we set up websites and different things like that. When I was writing my book, I used Fiverr because I know nothing about editing, I know nothing about formatting. I knew what I wanted to put in the book, but I didn't know anything about the formatting or the editing style that I needed. So I hired that service out. Just like my booking system, hire that out. You don't want to have to book your systems and book all your appointments while you're doing an appointment, because it takes away from your actual service. So we have to hire out that person to build our website. We have to hire out, like I said, my editing, my formatting of the book. You have to hire out your appointment setter, just so that you can be better utilized in your specialty area that you specialize in.
So I forgot to ask, so how did you end up in Texas from Oklahoma?
Texas was change.
Uh-huh.
Texas was all change. I had been in Texas, and I knew that once I graduated my last daughter from college that I was going to make a move. I just didn't know where I was going.
Okay.
So when my baby girl graduated college, me and my next to my baby daughter, Victoria, we started talking about, okay, well, what we gonna do? You out of college now, you've graduated, and so we had came up with Atlanta or Texas. And of course, she was in Memphis. That's where she chose to go to college at. And so we just decided, let's meet in Texas. And then we'll just take the world with a storm when we get there,
There you go.
And and then after that, my baby girl followed. And so it was actually 3 of us that came into Texas. And it was just change. I was just graduating my baby out. And I stayed for the foundation. I stayed in the state of Oklahoma as long as I did, so that when they came home for Thanksgiving, came home for Christmas, they had a stable place. I wasn't trying to move during that era of their lives. I just wanted to be still. But I knew that as soon as she graduated, I didn't know where I was going, but I was getting at Oklahoma.
That's I was about to say Oklahoma City, because I went to college up in Kansas. Oklahoma City was the single blip of actual buildings next to all my time in fields, and I was oh boy, I was that. I'm just ready to drive on out of there.
Now Oklahoma was good now.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's good. If you're trying to raise a family, it's the place to be.
I'm sure.
It's definitely the place to be. It's affordable. The cost of living is good. The schooling, the educational system is great. If you, as far as jobs go, they're there, you know. But if you're trying to do anything else, you need to be in Texas.
So how did you come across your current job?
You know what? This is a funny story too. I applied for this job 3 times.
Really?
Literally 3 times. I did. And I kept applying because in my mind I said one day they gonna look at it. I didn't know it was a she, but I said in my mind one day they gonna have to look at this application. If they keep on posting this job, eventually they gonna have to look at this application, you know. So I just continually submitted every time I seen it. You know, I came in and I was blessed to not have an employment problem. I came in without a job and got a job the day I got to the state of Texas. So I was really blessed in that avenue. But I knew that wasn't where I wanted to be at the same time. So every time I, you know, kept my eye open, and every time I saw 3D lash and brow, I'm like, let me just submit it. And, you know, just a click, submit your resume with, you know, Indeed. So I just clicked the button and then, like I said, in the back of my mind, I kept on saying to myself, one day they're going to have to look at this application, you know. So they did. And then I came in and we actually, when I got the job, Miss Amy had called me and we had a phenomenal telephone interview. I'm telling you, it was endless. I mean, we just questioned each other back and forth. But we must have been on the phone for 45 minutes to an hour just on the phone interview. But when I got in for the personal interview, it was different because we had already addressed everything. I mean, really? I felt like, you know, so it was quite differently when I came in for the personal interview. It wasn't. And then anyway, a couple of days later, I had took on hadn't heard from Amy yet. Then I took on another job with Ogle and hired on to them, went through their process, and then as soon as I got on boarded, then Amy called me, and of course this was closer than Denton, so I'm like, well, yeah, you know, let me come, you know. So I came on in, and everything's been working out. That was a year and a half ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
So because you came from, you're working at that nail salon, and then what made you want to be an educator, teacher?
Tired of standing on my feet.
Yeah.
Braiding hair. Braiding hair, because they're long jobs. They're long jobs. You know, micro braiding, kinky twists, the locks. Those were touch styles that I did, and they're long jobs. Even though you do have to ask for your worth, but I just got tired of being on my feet.
Yeah.
Tired of being on my feet.
So I know this is gonna span a while, but do you have like a favorite look or looks that you've ever done on a client?
I do. I'm partial to the locks.
Okay.
I love the lock. And society now have come to accept the African American trend. You know, the braiding, the locks and whatnot. So we're doing it more. There's more of a demand of it now because society has accepted it. So that was kind of my specialty, was a loctician too, you know, as well as a braid. So that was what I love to do most, is locks, the natural hair.
So are there any trends in beauty like right now that you've seen that you really like? Or really don't like?
Well, I love natural hair. I'm just a fan for natural hair. Wearing your hair being who you are. But then trend tells us we need it full, fluffy, and curly.
Yep.
So we always go to, you know, what society likes, you know. But natural hair would be more so what I have learned to love. Is the natural hair. You know, I've done the trending, you know, with the curly hair, the short hair, the colored hair, you know, every variation of hair that you can possibly think of, I've tried.
I bet.
But of course, I'm more partial to the natural.
So are there any techniques from like other professionals, any people that you've come across in your life that you're like, oh yeah, maybe I'll try this once, but now you're doing it all the time?
Readdress that question for me.
Okay.
What was that?
So have you come across any other like professionals in like the cosmetology realm that they've taught, like showed you some sort of method or technique on like hair, nails, skin that you maybe tried once, but now you do it all the time?
That would have to be the almond shaped nail.
Oh yes, I love
The
that.
almond shaped nail. You know, when I first started doing nails, the younger generation would say, "It's old people nail shape. I don't want no almond," because that's what I
Really?
wore. I was an almond girl,
Yes.
And so
I'm a
they'll look
coffin.
at mine and they say, "You wearing them old people nails?" But today, it's a high demand. If you keep something in your closet long enough, it's gonna repeat itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of like that almond nail. The young kids now, that's all they want is the almond to the stiletto shaped nail. you
Yeah,
know?
I'm a coffin girl.
Yeah. So that almond, it just keeps on. It's revolved, and they're loving it. So I love doing it because it's my fave. It's always been my fave. And then red polish.
Yes.
It never go away.
Absolutely. So that is a great segue into my next segment. So this is called Return or Burn.
Return or burn?
I am going to list off some like trends spanning kind of from like 70s to 90s. You're going to tell me if you want to see that return or burn it, leave it in the past.
Okay.
So first we've got the Farrah Fawcett hairdo, the little middle part bangs coming out.
That's return. That's a return, because even then when Farrah Fawcett wrote it, I wore the Farrah Fawcett cut too.
You did?
So yeah, I was a fan of that. So return her.
So next we've got like the Mick Jagger like shag cut.
That should never ever, along with the bomber jacket. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That should never come back.
So you kind of already touched on this already, but the afro.
It's a return and half return, because we're doing a lot of the now. You see women with the big afro now because it's acceptable now. It wasn't acceptable even in the 60s when it was trending. They were against it, but now it's acceptable.
Yeah.
People are in it. We're returning to that natural.
All right, and then last we've got the 80s blue eyeshadow look.
It's back.
Yeah.
I can't, it's a return. It's a return. I haven't, and I didn't then, and I don't think I will now, but when I see it, I'll be like, that's cute, because I love blue.
Yes.
That's the largest portion of my wardrobe color is blue. But I can't make myself put that blue eyeshadow on.
Yeah.
I just haven't gotten there
Believe
yet.
it,
But when
yeah.
I see it, I'll be like, cute.
Maybe. It's a maybe. All right.
Maybe.
Well, I think that wraps up our time here today. So thank you for coming on the
Yes,
show,
ma'am.
Sharon. So this has been Laura and Sharon with Beyond Beauty.